Hey everybody, welcome back into Occupy Democrats, and happy Saturday to all of us, because in this breaking story, how do you tell me you're becoming a lame duck president without telling me you're a lame duck president? Yeah, well, that's this breaking story, and you're absolutely going to want to see what just happened in one of the Rust Belt red states, which is hugely important. I'm going to show it to you in a few seconds, but remember, when this whole redistricting BS started by Trump, it of course started in the great state of Texas, whatever, and this is what Trump had to say about it here.
Redrawing their congressional map would get you 5 safe red seats. Means that California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland are all going to redraw their maps to add safe.
Well, they'll do it anyway. Why, if we stop over there, they would have done it anyway.
You see, that's typical Trump, because one of the key things that he's leaving out is, first of all, he's projecting they were going to do it anyway, which is just BS. You can't do that. That's called hearsay in court, Donald. But also, what he's leaving out is redistricting is typically done after the census does their population, because the population moves and changes. So Trump always likes to leave that out.
Look, a lot of these states, I watched this morning as Democrats are complaining, and they're complaining from states where they've done it, like in Illinois, like in Massachusetts. I watched this.
But of course, one of the great things is Gavin Newsom stepped in and said, no, we're not having that. And he started trolling Trump, and he did it in the most fabulous way. This.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is trying to get your attention about the complicated, wonky topic of redistricting, and he's doing it by imitating President Trump. Newsom's office posting on X, "These are perfect, beautiful maps. Better than Columbus, better than Google Maps, better than Apple Maps. Sorry, Tim, no gold bar for me, but I still love you. People are already screaming, Mama, Mama, and I say, no, I am your daddy."
And the irony of this breaking story is Newsom was ahead of the game, because when he sat down to have an interview with Meet the Press, this is what he said, ironically, about Indiana. Here.
That's why he called Greg Abbott. That's why he said he's, quote unquote, entitled. Think about that. Entitled to 5 seats. That's why he sent J.D. Vance to Indiana shortly thereafter. That's why he moved in Missouri. He moved the folks in North Carolina. And now we've got a special election in Indiana, or rather a special session, and likely movement in Florida. He is not screwing around. He's changing the rules. He's rigging the game because he knows he'll lose if all things are equal. He did not expect California to fight fire with fire. He expected us, as so often is the case, to try to argue for what's the right thing to do.
Oh, yeah. Trump is 100% trying to rig the game right before the midterms when the census hasn't come out yet. But in this breaking story, where Pete Buttigieg is the actual mayor of South Bend, Indiana, major red state in the Rust Belt, oh no, whoopsie poop. Look what just happened in this breaking story, because Donald Trump is on the way to being a lame duck. Check this out. Breaking news. This is big. Red state Republicans shock with bid to defy Trump. Indiana state Republicans revealed on Friday through the body's President pro tempore Roderick Bray that they don't have the votes to move forward with President Donald Trump's demand to redraw their state's congressional districts to delete Democratic seats, marking yet another setback in the GOP's bid to shore up their position in next year's midterm elections. As the news broke, a number of pro-Trump politicians and figures voiced their rage on social media, with some threatening careers of the Republican lawmakers who refused to join the effort. In quotes, "I called for our legislators to convene to ensure Hoosiers' voices in Washington, D.C. are not diluted by the Democrats' gerrymandering," wrote Governor Mike Braun, a supporter of Trump's efforts. "Our state senators need to do the right thing and show up for the votes for fair maps. Hoosiers deserve to know where their elected officials stand on important issues." Breaking, Senator Roderick Bray announces retirement, wrote Trump campaign strategist Chris LaCivita. However, a number of other commentators celebrated the news and flagged what a danger sign it is that Trump couldn't muster the support for his plans in a heavily red state. In quotes, "This is big. Elected Republicans in a deep red state saying no to Trump even after his personal plea. The balance is shifting and we have to keep up the pressure everywhere," wrote Pete Buttigieg, former Secretary of Transportation and Mayor of South Bend, Indiana. In quotes, "Have said whenever asked on CNN by WAPO, Politico, The Hill, etc. from the beginning, the appetite to redistrict did not exist," wrote conservative Indianapolis communications strategist Pete Seat. We do it right in Indiana, and the desire to undercut that was lacking. Those who don't get our state replied with, but Trump, so much for that. In quotes, every phone call matters, every email matters, every protest matters, every letter to the editors matters, wrote former Ohio Democratic Party Chair David Pepper. We have agency always to stop Trump's effort to rig Indiana when the GOP dominates that state house is one impressive feat. You can tell Trump is turning into a lame duck because pockets of the Republican Party are refusing to do his bidding, wrote Democratic strategist Mike Nellis. See, Indiana Republicans once again rejecting his demands to gerrymander the state. Indiana is an interesting place for random state legislators to test the president's capacity and will to destroy them politically, wrote Targeted Victory's Liam Donovan. When your Senate legislators and all the people around you basically tell the sycophant governor, take it and shove it where the sun don't shine, you know that Donald Trump is in trouble, because if he can no longer push a state like Indiana to actually do what he says, everyone can see the tea leaves. Everyone can see the writing on the wall, because somewhere in the next 60 to 90 days, all of this is going to come crashing down right on that big, beautiful bill and the big, beautiful hair of Donald Trump. And whether it's the Epstein files, the economy, or whatever it may be as we get into the holidays, no matter. Indiana said no. And that is the start. You guys like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and have a beautiful Saturday. Stay frosty.